Shalom, all praises to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakatwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles, the bishops, and the elders of GMS who rule well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Ainan. The title of the video is These Shall Hate the Horde. Right, and what this is going into is the NATO and EU. Right, they're hating the horde. Right, they're upset with how things are going currently around the world. Right, so I'm gonna get basically the basic scriptures that touch this point, and then I'll play this video, and if anything else comes to mind, I'll bring it out. But ultimately, these things are happening in real time, right, in our face. This is Habakkuk 2, and I'll start at 1. It says, I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. So the Lord wants us to carry the correct message, right, and make it plain. So each one teach one. The next man, right, of the elect man can have the truth and teach, his neighbor. All right. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. They will tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Right. And we see now in these last days, these few last seconds, right, even the doomsday clock is what, like 85 seconds until doomsday. And they're now talking about World War III and Armageddon and bringing in JC. Right. So we're seeing the prophecy speak loud and clear in these last days. Though it tarry, which we got the truth back, going back to the 1960s, right, when Albert Bivens, started this thing up, and now, our elder apostles carried the message, the correct message, right, and they he carried it, Albert Bivens carried it to our elder apostles, and our elder apostles carried it to us, right, and we're still carrying that message and running, because Amos 8:11 tells us it's going to be a time where the message is going to stop. All right, it won't be no more message going out. Right, and that time is fastly approaching. Right, we can clearly we see that, especially if we see that if they're about to bring this micro C hit. Right, complete hell is about to hit this place. Right, blackouts, struggling for food and different things. So. You got to get this message while you can, because there's no telling if we're going to be able to give you the warning the day before, right? What I mean? Like, something could happen tomorrow. You're getting the message now, but what can happen tomorrow is a blackout, and then the message stops. All right, and then within this blackout, a lot can happen. More of Jacob's trouble, right? Issuing of the MOTB, World War III increasing. Everything, pestilence, apparitions, animals changing their places. Then we see the chariots coming in the skies. That means something going down over the Middle East, because we won't be able to see it, if it's a blackout, right? And then we get beamed up in the chariots, and we see the missiles hitting it, so all of it can happen, once the light shut off. This is Amos 8:11, says, behold, the days come, said the Lord Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land. Not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh. So you got to think about that. Just imagine. The brothers say all the time, you don't know if you're going to be next to a brother, right? The scriptures say, be ye even as pilgrims in those days. You moving around is complete darkness. All you got is your faith and what you have inside of you, right? And of course, the scriptures say, Isaiah 65, that the Most High Yahweh Bashim Shah is going to protect his elect in those times. So you're gonna be good. You're gonna know you're good. But at the same time, things are going to be happening, and your faith has to be tested, right? See this real quick. This Isaiah 65:13, it says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shai, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart and shall howl for vexation of spirit. Right. And we're already rejoicing because we're seeing these scriptures, these prophecies come to pass in these last days, and we know the time is short, right? Uh, the things are near, right? Yahushua is near, right? Our redemption draweth nigh, right? We're seeing the things happening around the world, so we're already rejoicing. But like I said, if that is the type of scenario that's going to take place where the famine of the word happens, all right, and all the lights go out and we're just moving out, because you got to remember also the chip. Once they try to offer you the chip, everything for you to get any type of resources and food and things like that, you're gonna take the chip. All right. I'm a Lord willing, I'll do a lesson, going back to where, those basically the famous men when Moses, the famous brothers, was like when it was like, are you gonna basically Moses had to separate them. If you with Moses and Yahweh watching our shots stand on this side, and if you with the famous brothers, stand on that side, and the Most High swallow them up. And that when that chip is gonna test your faith the same way. Who are you with? Are you gonna you take the chip, right, and be with Esau, Edom, trusting in his devices, or are you gonna remain faithful, right? So that's what's gonna happen. But when that things come, the prophets, the elect men will not take that, right? The true prophets won't take that. So if you're needing that to get the truth still, like as in for us to even get online or something like that, then you're not gonna have us there, right? So if you get my point. So anyway, Amos 8:11 it says, "Behold, the days come," said the Lord Yahweh, watching our shot, "that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord Yahweh, watching our shot. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east, they shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord Yahweh, watching our shine, shall not find it." Right? You're gonna be trying to search online. You're gonna be trying to find the brothers, outside teaching. That's not gonna be taking place when all hell is breaking loose, families and things like that. The Most High Yahweh, watching our shine, be keeping us, wherever we may be, wherever we travel to, and whatnot. Right? That basically the job is done. The feeding my sheep part is over with. Right now, uh, you know, I do see the Most High Yahweh, watching our shot, using brothers to heal, individuals to show His glory, right? For different individuals to give thanks unto Yahweh, watching our shot. Scripture say, um, what is it? In thy power, the people will be willing, something like that. Let me see. I ain't quote that fully correctly. And the day of thy power, the people shall be willing, right? Let me get that. The day. So I do see the Most High Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, allowing brothers to, heal people and probably give them, some type of food or whatever the case may be, to use different brothers to do this thing, to protect his elect and all of that, so they can give praises unto Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, speaking in different languages, having that spiritual power to talk to anybody, right? Especially imagine somebody that don't even know they're Israelite, you're like a whole Asian, right? And you're talking to them in their language, like, be at ease. The Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shah loves you, and in that type of situation. This is Psalms 110:3. It says, "Thy people shall be willing in the day of thy power, in the duties of holiness. From the womb of the morning, thou hast the dew of thy youth." Here's NLT says, "When you go to war, your people will serve you willingly. You are arrayed in holy garments, and your strength will be renewed each day like the morning dew." All right. And the scriptures say that we are his battle axes of war and things like that. All right. Because the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shah in that day is going to give his people power, right? Select power, to be able to do different things, right? Fend off the great flood of the enemies. It says AMP, your people will offer themselves willingly to participate in your battle in the day of your power. In the splendor of holiness, from the womb of the dawn, your young men are to you as the dew. So they're gonna, once they see that power, they're gonna want to, get with you. Like, dang, the person is glowing, doing miracles and different things like that. So that's going to be the other side of it, right? Miracles, healings, and things like that. Right now, we're teaching, warning, feeding you with the knowledge that you're going to need to sustain yourself with a little faith, right? But for some people, seeing is believing, and the Most High definitely going to show out. All right. It says Amos 8:13, and that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst, right? They're going to want the word. They're going to want some type of something, you know. They that swear by sin of Samaria and say, thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner that she delivered, even they shall fall and never rise up again. Talking to the idols, the people with the idols, and all of that, even those, people will fall. All right. They seek into the left hand sources and things like that, trusting in Esau, Edom. All right. Let me go over here, like I said, regarding these 10 horns that are, we everything that's happening is causing them to hate America, even hate being joined with them, right? This war, they have something called what is like Article 4, Article 5 regarding NATO and EU. Like you hit one, you hit all. Right now, what is it? Iran is hitting every single military base they can, right? In reach, trying to hit ships, tankers, all type of stuff. But we don't see like Article 4 and 5 of NATO being implemented because these people don't want this war, right? They didn't even consult one another about it. This is something that Nero 47 did, and he didn't have to do, right? They say all the time there was no imminent threat from Iran, right? He did this on behalf of Israel, and we know this because the scriptures say the least of the flock will draw them out, right? This is Revelation 17:12. It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which will have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast." Right. So they receive power with, the wicked, right? Esau, Edom, America, Babylon, right? These have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Right. So they lean on America, right? But as you're gonna see in this video, they're trying to work around America, right? And that goes according to prophecy. These shall make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they that are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. Right, because ultimately this World War III is gonna happen. It's already happening, and all these people are gonna get dragged into it. Right, and they're all gonna fight against the Lord Yahushua, right, when he returns, saying there's an alien or whatever the case may be. It says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues. Yeah, so that that's Esau Edom gathering unto him all people, right? It says, "In the 10 horns which thou sawest are upon the beast, these shall hate the whore." All right, so the 10 horns are NATO and the EU, and the whore is America, and the beast is like the system, right? The whole system. All right, and the 10 horns is going to hate the whore, America, because America is making bad decisions, and everyone can see that in these last days. NATO and EU is complaining, right? And they're totally divided, like the scriptures say. Kingdom divided against itself shall not stand, and they are all falling down right now in real time. Right? It says, "And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire." And the reason they're able to do this is because the Most High Yahweh Bashmi Shah is bringing up Russia, right? And Russia is going to lead many people against Israel in America in these last days. And we can already see different trades and things happening behind the scenes, with these NATO and EU and Russia. You even got the BRICS, right? So there's a whole problem going on with energy, right? EU is not able to buy Russian, energy or oil because America told them not to, but that's not benefiting them right now, right? So it's like they're gonna die, or suffer if they don't, so they're trying to figure it out, basically. It says, "For Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, put it in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh, Bashmi Awashai, shall be fulfilled." So that time is ending. That time is coming to an end now, where, they gave their kingdom unto the beast. But you can see they're making plans where, and basically what they're saying, the new world order, it won't be where America is ruling over us, right? They're going to rule for themselves, right? But the scriptures say that their inward thought is that their houses, shall continue forever. So they're trying to make plans for the future, not knowing that this is it, right? This war is the end all be all for them, right? It ends here. Psalms 49:11 says their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And this is a beautiful scripture, right? Because that's exactly what they think. No one thinks, oh, this current rulership will end or America will end or, just any type of thought they got. But it will end, right? Because you guys are going to go to World War III, shoot those missiles, and Yahushua is going to come and set up a kingdom, right? That shall not never be destroyed, right? So Revelations 17:17, for Yahweh Bashim Yahushua put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, so in their mind to fulfill his will and to agree to give their kingdom unto the beast, unto the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua shall be fulfilled. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city which reigneth over the kings of the earth. All right. So we see, and this lady's going to point out in this video here, that they're making plans now to separate from this beast, and ultimately with them shooting fire on her. All right. But first, they have to separate. This is Obadiah 1:7. Right. I'll get it in the NLT. It says, all your allies will turn against you. Right. And this is going to Edom. Edom will be humbled, the so-called white man. Right. And the chief of that is starting with the Amalekites, and they're joined with America. All right. So the Amalekites are those small hatters over there in the land of Israel, and they have drawn out America and Babylon to the war with them. Right. And everything that they're doing is because of America. Right. So America is turning on its allies, right, doing things that these Amalekites want America to do. Right. And that's why the allies are going to turn on them. You even seen at one point Israel was able to strike Qatar, another American ally, and these people pay America billions of dollars, to defend them, but Israel was just allowed to strike them, and even now it's coming out that Israel is striking them even right now today. They try to make them fight the war with them, with America and Israel against Iran, and they're seeing that the allies of America are seeing that Israel is striking them, trying to do some type of FF event, false flag event. But not too much has been said on it right now. And I can only think that they're plotting. NOT, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Right. Israel is attacking them. Israel, it came out that Israel was the one that struck the bombing, the oil plants, in UAE and other places. Right, the missile, it came from their area, from Israel's area, not from Iran's area. There was even a UK got hit, and then they was like, oh well, they said it was Iran, but then they said well, the drone that hit us was not Iranian, but they didn't announce who drone it was for. Some Mossad agents got caught in Iran trying to do different things, so they definitely see what's happening, and I can only imagine that they're plotting, NOT, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. And that could be a trap, too, to allow these devils to continue doing what they're doing. As in, they're getting bombed by Israel, and then Israel sending us Iran. They're just documenting and tracking it. And for one, China and Russia is sending them updated images of what's happening on the battlefield and where things are at. Right, they're tracking these things real time. Right, so everyone sees them. All right, so let me. I'm gonna play some of this video here.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen stood before every European Union ambassador and declared the end of the American-led world order. At the annual EU Ambassadors Conference in Brussels, she told Europe's diplomatic corps that the continent can no longer be a custodian for the old world order, for a world that has gone and will not return. This was not a casual remark. This was the President of the European Commission addressing the entire European diplomatic apparatus and announcing that Europe must now project power independently because the rule-based system America built can no longer be relied upon. I'm Elif Housevel on YouTube. I have a PhD in computer science, and I use data analysis to spot patterns in geopolitics and economics. Von der Leyen said that we always defend and uphold the rules-based system that we help to build with our allies, but we can no longer rely on it as the only way to defend our interest or assume its rules will shelter us from the complex threats that we face. Translation in normal words, America is no longer a reliable partner. The system America led for 80 years has collapsed under American chaos. Europe is on its own. And the timing is not coincidental for this statement. Von der Leyen spoke as the United States and Israel continue strikes on Iran, a campaign that has upended the balance of power in the Middle East, thrown global energy markets into disarray, and driven a wedge between Western allies. She told ambassadors that they are now seeing a regional conflict with unintended consequences, and the spillover is already a reality today. She says, our citizens are caught in the crossfire. Our partners are being attacked. She cited an Iranian made drone hitting a British base on EU member Cyprus, trade disruptions, and the displacement of people. Europe is experiencing the consequences of an American war that it did not choose and was not consulted about. The United States struck Iran during active peace negotiations. Oman's foreign minister had said just before the strikes that a breakthrough had been reached and peace was within reach. America launched the war anyway. Now oil prices have soared to just $120 per barrel. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed, and Europe faces energy disruption while still banned from importing Russian energy. This is the chaos von der Leyen referenced when she said Europe can no longer rely on the American-led system. Von der Leyen's speech went even further. She questioned whether the EU's doctrine, institutions, and decision-making processes designed in a post-war world of stability and multilateralism have kept pace with the speed of change. She asked whether the system built with all its well-intentioned attempts at consensus and compromise is more a help or a hindrance to Europe's credibility as a geopolitical actor. This is the European Commission president questioning the entire institutional framework Europe built under American leadership. If you want to understand how the United States ended up launching yet another Middle East war with no apparent exit strategy, I cover the parallels to other war and the financial costs already spiraling out of control in a video that I'm going to link on the screen. Kaja Kallas, the EU's High Representative for Foreign Affairs, spoke after von der Leyen and pointed the finger at Russia's invasion of Ukraine as the cataclysm that precipitated the erosion of international law and enabled the return of coercive power politics. Kallas said that invasion did not go unnoticed, and instead it sent a signal around the world that there is no more accountability for one's actions. The rule book has been thrown out of the window, essentially. But neither von der Leyen nor Kallas explicitly condemned the American-Israeli strikes on Iran as legal breach. Instead, von der Leyen said that the EU should move beyond analysis and address the reality of the situation and the world as it actually is. This is the big shift here. Von der Leyen is telling European ambassadors to stop debating whether America's war is legal and start managing the consequences. She said there should be no tears shed for the Iranian regime, effectively endorsing the American objective of regime change while refusing to call the method illegal. Europe is caught between principles and survival here. Von der Leyen is essentially choosing survival. The speech laid out Europe's new strategy. Both von der Leyen and Kaja Kallas agreed Europe should substantially ramp up defense and deterrence capabilities while expanding its network of trade deals and security agreements to remove vulnerable dependencies that adversaries might exploit. The potential for new partnerships is very high as mid-sized countries expanding its network.
Right. It says Europe can no longer be a custodian for the old world order, for a world that has gone and will not return. Right, that's what she said right here. So the new world order is emerging, right? And what comes with that is the RFID chip, all right? And whoever, they finally know who's gonna rule it and whatnot, who's gonna, the 6G race, who's gonna bring it out first and all of this. But at the end of the day, it's gonna come. All right, and they're gonna continue to fight and be divided. But as you can see, the 10 horns is saying, they're basically tired of America and they got to figure something else out. All right, so that's pretty much what's happening. This is Daniel 8:25. It says, and through his policy also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, right? And he shall magnify himself in his heart, right? This is what the devil did. He through like different policies of the NATO and EU and the different laws, he was able to forward himself, basically, right? Set things up, have order, It says, and by peace shall destroy many. And he's destroying his allies, just through different, policies and things that he set up, right? And what I want to say is that his allies are now getting attacked because of him. You know, he had these different agreements for peace and for safety, like where his military bases are. He told them, look, I'm gonna have a base here and I'll protect you and things like that, which was supposed to be for peace. But because he's been let out by, the small hatters, he's destroying people, and just even the dollar, having the dollar set up under the petrodollar, and the whole world being like basically chained to it. Now, it's exploding basically, and I can't even really say peace no more because the scriptures say when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. And that's exactly what they're doing. All right. It says he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. Right. Which is, Yahweh Shai when he comes, you know. So, Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. Shalom to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.